Hello and welcome to my YouTube. In this YouTube, I'm going to explain what are those XGlite voices in the E463 keyboard. When you look on your keyboard over on the right, you have a list of all of the voices, the pianos, the guitars, the strings, the trumpets, and there are usually 10 to 15 voices in each category. But then you get over here to voice number 302, and it's called something called XGlite. And there's over 400 voices in here. What is this? That's what I'm going to discuss. I'm going to keep this simple and non-technical. If you look on the front of your E463 owner's manual, way down at the lower left corner, you see some symbols. Let me magnify those for you. You see something called General MIDI, and here is XGlite. This tells you that this keyboard supports General MIDI and XGlite. That's the official designation that this keyboard supports these two. So what are they? General MIDI. General MIDI is a standardized specification for 128 voices in electronic musical instruments. It was developed by the American MIDI Manufacturers Association and the Japanese MIDI Standards Committee, and this was first published in 1991. So the big music industry got together and they said, let's formally establish what these MIDI instruments sound like, so that if I play a piano in my keyboard, it'll sound like the piano in your keyboard. If I create a MIDI file on my keyboard and give it to you, it's going to play exactly the same on your keyboard. You see, MIDI was created way back in 1983. But it was only in 1991 that they finally standardized, this is what a piano sounds like, this is what a guitar, this is what drums sound like, so that I could take a MIDI file and play it on anybody's instrument and it's going to sound the same. Well, in 1994, Yamaha introduced XG, which increased the number of MIDI voices from 128 all the way up to 480. And it added additional improvements to General MIDI. So Yamaha says, no, 128 voices is not enough. We're going to quadruple that to 480. So they introduced Yamaha XG, and eventually it ended up just being a chip inside the keyboards, and that's what it is today. Yamaha XGlite. Somewhere around 2004, Yamaha introduced XGlite, a stripped down version of Yamaha XG with fewer voices and fewer capabilities. And why did they do this? Because they wanted to make less costly keyboards, and one way to do that was to reduce the cost of the chipsets on the motherboard. So XGlite came out. And several of the lower cost portable Yamaha keyboards have XGlite built into them. Now, some of the keyboards that Yamaha makes don't have MIDI at all. But those that do have MIDI, the lower priced ones, such as the E463, they have XGlite chips built into them, so that a piano on my keyboard sounds just like the piano on your keyboard if we're both playing the same MIDI file. XGlite allows keyboard players to share and play MIDI files created on other keyboards that also support XGlite. Okay? So if I go in on my Macintosh and I create a MIDI song with, say, Logic Pro, and I give it to you, it's going to sound the same on your keyboard as it does on, let's say, a Korg keyboard that also supports XGlite. Now, the XGlite in the E463 keyboard has a total of 456 voices and sound effects. And they start with voice 302 and they go all the way up to voice 758. So of the 700 and some odd voices in the keyboard, 456 of them are contained here in XGlite. So the E463, that should say E, typo, sorry, keyboard has 301 high quality voices and 456 lower quality XGlite voices. So I'm agreeing with what the experts say. The XGlite voices are not as good as the other 301 voices built into this keyboard. The XGlite voices are considered inferior in quality of sound to the regular 301 built-in voices of the E463 keyboard, but Yamaha considered them more than acceptable to the average home musician who buys their keyboards. And let's face it, I'm not going to take my little E463 keyboard and get on a plane and fly to London this next weekend and play for Taylor Swift. That's not what we do. We buy these keyboards and we play them in home for ourselves and our friends. So the quality of these voices is more than adequate for the kinds of people like you and me that buy these lower cost portable Yamaha keyboards. So XGlite gives the E463 keyboard player additional voices you wouldn't have, such as a viola, bagpipes, a B3 drawbar organ, a banjo, church bells, bell choir, and a bass fiddle. Those voices do not come in the 301 built-in voices, but they are available in the XGlite on my keyboard. Now, if you want a list of all of the XGlite voices, you need this manual. This is called the data list. It's available online on the Yamaha website. And what I'll do is I put the URL for the Yamaha website where you can download this manual in my comments below. So all you have to do is go down into my comments and you'll be able to click on it. It'll take you right to the place where you can download this manual. You can also download the owner's manual if you don't happen to own an E463 keyboard. So enjoy playing your E463 keyboard and enjoy those 456 voices in XGlite. Thanks for watching.